are electricity costs so high?
Understanding electricity tariffs can be tricky. Let's use Watts Bake, a commercial bakery, as an example to explain the costs that go into determining the electricity tariffs we pay. Making bread and the cost of electricity have a lot in common, you know. Just as Watts Bake fairly prices bread, the ECB applies specific principles when reviewing and approving tariffs. Electricity costs mirror actual and the cost of producing an additional unit, ensuring fairness and a level playing field in the electricity supply industry, grounded on solid economic principles. Electricity tariffs are the costs of buying 1 unit of electricity. When calculating the cost of bread, Watts Bake considers the cost of ingredients, operations, maintenance and overheads. Nampower does the same with electricity costs. Nampower submits information related to the cost of electricity to the ECB for annual review and determination of the tariff. The Nampower tariffs are the bulk tariff, which includes the costs of generating and transmitting electricity. Once determined, the ECB announces the approved bulk tariffs in the newspapers. Watts Bake's bread is sold in supermarkets across the country. In the same way, electricity is transmitted by Nampower to various towns and the regional electricity distributors. The REDs, regional councils, and local authorities then distribute the electricity to their consumers. After Nampower's bulk tariff is approved, the distribution utilities also apply for annual tariff reviews based on their specific cost components. The ECB reviews and approves allowable costs, and the new distribution tariffs are announced in local newspapers.
Okay, I hear you, but I still want to know exactly what I'm paying for.
Of course, Sophia, you must understand where your money goes. Let's start with electricity generation costs. Electricity generation refers to the process of producing electricity from various sources, such as independent power producers, the IPPs, or imported electricity from neighboring countries like South Africa or Zambia. Generation costs consider the fuel cost to operate local generators, maintenance of the power plants, overhead costs, asset-related costs such as the payment of loans, costs for importing electricity, and payment for electricity bought from independent power producers. You'll notice that generating electricity is similar to baking bread, where ingredients like flour, water, and yeast are mixed in a particular way to get the final product. Delivering bread to supermarkets incurs costs. Likewise, the transmission of electricity means that the electricity generated at different power plants and imported from neighboring countries is transported to the REDs, RCs, or LAs, which then distribute the electricity through their networks to their consumers. Transmission is done via the massive network of high-voltage lines nationwide. Transmission costs include overhead costs, operating and maintenance costs, asset-related costs such as the payment of loans and regulated profit. Watts Bake's ovens must be reliable to bake perfect bread, and in the electricity tariff, reliability costs ensure a stable electricity supply. This cost ensures that the consumer will be guaranteed the supply of electricity through reliable infrastructure. Some electricity is lost when it is transmitted from power generation sources to consumers. Our country is vast, and every distance the electricity travels without consumption is considered a technical loss. In the REDs, RCs, and LAs, electricity is lost through theft and illegal connections. This is the same as bread, where some is lost during slicing. To ensure consumers are not charged unfairly for these losses, the ECB caps the level of losses. When bread reaches the supermarket, it has a price that covers the cost of the ingredients, baking the bread, packaging, and delivering it. In electricity, the REDs, RCs, and LAs follow a similar process for electricity distribution. The REDs, RCs, and LAs buy electricity in bulk from Nampower, and the voltage is reduced from as high as 132 kilovolts to 220 volts so it is safe to use in our homes. Their costs include electricity purchases, operations and maintenance, operating and maintenance of low-voltage infrastructure that connects consumers, consumer services, human resource costs, asset-related costs such as the payment of loans, and overhead costs to ensure that bills are processed and sent on time, and that consumers receive their service from the suppliers. In addition, there is a surcharge added, which is collected on behalf of the local authorities in which area the electricity is being sold. This surcharge is used by the local authorities as additional revenue from electricity sold in their areas. Watts Bake pays taxes, as do electricity consumers. The electricity consumers pay levies to support the ECB and the National Energy Fund, the NEF. The ECB levy is used to pay for the costs incurred in regulating the electricity industry. So you see, Sophia, the ECB makes sure the cost of every electricity component is fair to both the consumer and the supplier. This guarantees the availability of electricity all the time. It's much like every ingredient in Watts Bake's bread has a counterpart in electricity costs. That's the secret behind the bread and your electricity costs.
Thank you for breaking it down. Now I know better.